Imagine waking up in the middle of the ocean. There's no land in sight, no crew around you, and you have no memory of how you got there. This isn't a nightmare. This is the true story of one of the most disturbing mysteries ever recorded at sea. In December 1872, a ship named the Mary Celeste was found drifting silently in the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean. The sails were partially raised, catching the faint breeze. The hull was undamaged. The cargo, worth a small fortune, was still safely stowed below deck. But something was terribly wrong. There was not a single person on board. The captain, Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their young 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, and the entire 7-man crew had vanished into thin air. There were no signs of a struggle, no bloodstains on the deck, no damage from a rogue wave or a pirate attack. The ship looked as if everyone had simply stood up in the middle of their daily routines and walked away into nothingness. When investigators from the ship that found it, the Dei Gratia, finally boarded the vessel, they braced themselves for a scene of chaos and violence. Instead, what they discovered only deepened the mystery. They found half-eaten meals on the tables in the crew's quarters. Personal belongings, like clothes and pipes, were neatly arranged in their chests. The captain's logbook was open on his desk, with the final entry written 10 days earlier. The last entry noted nothing unusual, just the ship's position and routine progress. Then the questions began, each more baffling than the last. Why would an experienced and respected captain like Benjamin Briggs abandon a perfectly seaworthy ship? The Mary Celeste was in excellent condition. It wasn't taking on water. Its pumps were working. Why would he take his wife and child into the open waters with no lifeboat found nearby? The ship's single lifeboat was missing. But here's the truly disturbing part. There was no logical reason to use it. Whether records for that period and location showed calm seas, there was no evidence of a major storm that could have swamped the vessel. There were no signs of a collision with another ship or an iceberg. There was no trace of a fire, and the cargo 1,701 barrels of highly valuable industrial alcohol was still secured below deck. So what could have possibly forced 10 people to leave the safety of their ship for a tiny, fragile boat in the middle of the ocean? Theories started flying immediately. The first and most obvious one was pirates. But pirates don't leave valuable cargo and personal effects behind. Their goal is profit, and the Mary Celeste was full of it. More importantly, there were no signs of a fight. The ship was orderly, almost pristine. Another theory suggested a mutiny. Perhaps the crew had turned on Captain Briggs and his family. But again, this made little sense. Why would the crew kill their captain, then abandon the ship they had just taken? They would have sailed it to a new port to sell the cargo. Instead, they vanished along with everyone else. This wasn't the aftermath of a mutiny. It was the aftermath of an abduction by an invisible force. Then came a more chilling and scientific theory. Investigators noticed that 9 of the alcohol barrels were empty and had leaked. This type of alcohol is highly volatile and produces invisible, odorless but highly flammable fumes. Some experts believe the crew, fearing a catastrophic explosion was imminent, panicked. The captain might have ordered everyone into the lifeboat as a precaution, tying it to the ship with a long rope, intending to wait at a safe distance until the danger passed. But in this scenario, something went horribly wrong. If the rope tying the lifeboat to the ship snapped, they would have been cast adrift, dragged away by the relentless currents. They would have been helpless, watching in horror as the Mary Celeste, their only hope of survival, sailed on without them, carried by the wind. But even this theory has holes. An experienced crew would likely have known the signs of a fume buildup. And why didn't they just open the hatches to ventilate the hold? It seems like a drastic overreaction. Another theory goes even darker, venturing into the realm of the supernatural. Some sailors who later boarded the ship claimed the ocean around it felt unnatural, as if the sea itself was wrong. There were whispers of strange sea creatures, bizarre weather phenomena, or even a giant squid attack. Others spoke of shared hallucinations, of a sudden, inexplicable terror with no clear cause, driving men to jump into the water to escape something only they could see. But there is absolutely no proof for any of this. It's the stuff of maritime legend, born from a mystery too strange for a simple explanation. Years passed. The mystery only grew. No bodies were ever found, no final message was ever discovered, no signal flare was ever reported. Nothing. The Mary Celeste continued drifting aimlessly until it was recovered. The ship itself survived and even sailed under new owners for years. But the people who had once called it home were never seen or heard from again. To this day, the case of the Mary Celeste remains officially unsolved. No single theory explains everything. No explanation fits every detail. The ship was not destroyed. The ocean was calm. And yet every soul on board disappeared without a trace. The Mary Celeste didn't sink, it didn't burn, it didn't crash. It simply became a floating question mark in the middle of the ocean, a ghost ship sailing through history. And perhaps the most unsettling thought of all is this: whatever made them leave the safety of their ship, whatever they were fleeing from, was terrifying enough to make them risk the deadly emptiness of the open sea, and we will likely never know what it was. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries.